You just been singing a lot.
Yeah.
Marcy, go if it makes you happy. Sing.
I only sing to my grandson because he doesn't care.
How was he?
Falls into the category of captive audience too, right? So, you know, at least until he's big enough to escape on his own. But I'm sure.
13 letters, they can't escape it. I have in the car.
Yeah, true.
Okay, nice singing.
Time now is 7 o'clock. We will call our meeting to order. Please rise and join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Madam Clerk, may I have the roll call vote, please?
David Walker.
Here.
Kurt Schultz.
Here.
Herm Ferguson.
Here.
Mike Cunningham.
Here.
And Jennifer Eden and Zachary Tucker are absent.
I think I'd like to amend the agenda to move closed session after public remarks. No business will be conducted at that point, just adjournment. And those that are here are free to leave, and those that would like to stick around for adjournment are free to do so. So
So support.
it's been motioned and supported to amend the agenda as presented. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Agenda is approved. Next is the approval of the consent agenda. The regular board meeting minutes from September 7th, 2021, the treasurer's report from August 31st, 2021, and the clerk's warrants and bills.
So support.
We're in harmony
Jinx.
tonight, aren't we?
I got David and Herman.
Okay.
It's been motioned and supported to approve the consent agenda as presented. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Next, communications. We have the fire service report from September 14th, 2021, the job posting notice for planning and zoning assistant, and the Livingston County Sheriff's report from August 31st, 2021.
So moved.
Support.
It's been motioned and supported to receive and place on file communications 1 through 3. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. No unfinished business. We're going to move to new business. Item number 1 is presentation of the Township 2020-21 audit. We have Neil, our auditor, here to go over that for us. Please let the record reflect that Trustee Tucker is here. He's present.
Hey, good evening, everyone. We were engaged to audit the township for the year ended March 31st, 2021. The report's in front of you, and I have 7 or 8 things I want to point out, and I'll open it up for questions. Page 1. This is the independent auditor's report. If you look at the second paragraph, it talks about management's responsibility for the financial statements. Management is responsible for the preparation and fair presentation of these financial statements in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. So even though we put the statements together as a non-audit service, these are management's financial statements, and they have to assume responsibility. Third paragraph down, auditor's responsibility. Our responsibility is to express an opinion on the financial statements based on our audit. And if you turn to page 2, at the top of the page is the opinion paragraph. In our opinion, the financial statements referred to above present fairly in all material respects the financial position of the township as of March 31st, 2021. So it's an unmodified opinion. If there was something wrong with the report, it would be a modified opinion. So in layman's terms, it's a clean opinion. So management should be commended for that. Page 5. a part of the report called Management's Discussion and Analysis. And there are 3 financial highlights there. I want to talk about the third one. At the end of the current fiscal year, the unassigned fund balance of the general fund was $3,376,000, or 276.8%. So years ago, I went to a seminar put on by the Michigan Department of Treasury. They think you have a problem if that number is 13% or below. So where you're at, you're in good financial shape there. Page 16. This is a statement of activities. It's a snapshot of the township as a whole, not by fund. Starts off on the left side with expenses along functional areas, so public safety, public works, health and welfare, those are called functional areas. In the middle there's a program revenues, and those are specifically assigned to cover those expenses. And then on the right-hand side, you get a net expense. And as you flow down from there, you have general purpose revenues like property taxes and revenue sharing. Those aren't specifically tied to an expense. So if you go to the third line down, change in net position, you see it's a positive $480,000. So if someone asked, is the township better off or worse off financially during this year? You can answer by saying the township is better off by $480,000. Page 34. It is a legal requirement to pass a budget for your general fund and your special revenue funds in the state of Michigan. And if you look at the very last paragraph, the township had no expenditures in excess of the amounts appropriated during the year ended March 31st, 2021. So you didn't, in any of those areas, you didn't overspend your budget, so, which indicates good management practices, and you should be commended for that. The last 3 pages of the report begins a letter. We call this our 114 letter for the standard. And anytime a CPA does an audit for a governmental entity, we have to communicate certain things about the audit. And we do that in this letter. And if you go down to the bottom, it says difficulties encountered in performing the audit. We encountered no significant difficulties in dealing with management and performing and completing our audit. What I want to point out there is, except for me being here 3/4 of the day to look at specific transactions, this audit was done remotely. We use software called ShareFile. We make a request, and then you upload documents to that. So just want to point out that we're not here looking and discovering your records that way. We get a bunch of everything uploaded to us, and that's due to COVID. So this report needs to go to Treasury 6 months after the year end, so that'll be September 30th, along with the report that we upload, a report called an Auditing Procedures Report. We send that along. That's 20 questions Treasury wants to know from the auditors about the governmental entity that we just audited. And in those 20 questions, we can answer positive in all 20 of them. So, the state's going to be happy with what they get from you. You won't have any issues that way. So, with that, I'll open it up for questions.
I got one anyway.
Sure.
On page 42, note 11, change in accounting principles. The adoption of GASB 84, how does that affect any of the numbers? I recognize it doesn't in this particular report. How will it in the future?
Actually, it did in this report.
It did.
Yeah. So you have your current tax collection account affected that, in that the tax receipts that you get for other entities, you have to show those as an inflow and the amount going as an outflow. Your own tax revenues, you just record those the same way you have in the past. So the big thing for GASB 84 was for your tax collection fund.
Okay, so how does it reflect differently than it would have had that not adopted, is my question, I guess.
Let me turn you to the report. Which would be on page 24 and 25. So especially 25, so we have to present taxes collected for other governments, 13,664,159. Payments of property taxes to other governments, 13,664. So everything you received in, you paid out. So that presentation right there. So it's not a significant effect for this governmental unit. It is a big deal for counties who have district courts and circuit courts and family courts and things like that, so.
So it speaks to non-tax revenue. So in counties, other municipalities, it's
Yeah.
effective for non-tax revenue.
Correct,
Okay.
yeah. That was a challenge. We had, I think, 7 counties with December year ends, and that's the first period we implemented that.
Mhm.
There's just all kinds of things that we didn't consider, and it's really lengthened out our audit process.
I have another question also.
Sure.
I'm used to looking at bank accounting statements, and one of the things that we always were curious about is how we looked in comparison to other banks. I recognize you audit a lot of other townships. Where do we stand as far as how we look financially with other townships you do?
You look very well. That marker where I said you were 270-some% of your expenditures in your general fund, the state thinks you have a problem at 13%. You're a long ways from that.
Okay. Okay, well, that's good to hear.
Yeah.
Is there anything that we can do this coming year to make the audit go smoother next year?
You know, you're in a unique situation. You got a guy named Casey on your staff.
Yes, I know.
And you can tell he was very good at Raymond. And it's a challenge to us because it's so different than any of our other audits because he prepared all the work papers for us. So it's just everything tight. We had no adjustments, and I can't imagine it being any smoother.
I think I know the answer to this next question. Did he make it too easy for you?
Again, the challenge was because I turned in the engagement because I did most of the ticking in time, and my boss says, you know, you need to beef this up. So.
Thank you very much. Does anybody else have any other questions? Neil, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Good evening.
You too.
What time is
You can stick around and be entertained by all the excitement.
I haven't had dinner yet, but thank you.
Item number 2 is the zoning ordinance amendment, Article number 21, Article 21, supplemental district regulations, Section 21.08, stables and animals. This was something that we had on the agenda last time that I had put off for some clarification. You want to take this curtain over?
Sure. Basically, what this particular change in the ordinance does is it brings together all the parts of animals that people can raise that are not pets within RE, RF, and residential 1 areas. In the situation we had previously, we probably didn't delineate exactly what types of animals people could have, or how many ducks and chickens together, or how many 2 pigs, a cow, and 5 chickens, or whatever fit on what size property. So that was what the process was that we went through here. We worked with our consultant on this one to come up with exactly what types of mixtures of animals could be on types of property so that people understood what they can raise legitimately within the, shall we say, less rural areas of the county or the township. So really what we've done here, we passed this back in January, and it was on the agenda of the County Planning Commission, and other than a couple of minor typos that were in it, they approved it. So I guess I would move that we also do the same. Do we need to vote on it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's an amendment. So that's your motion, right?
Yes.
Do you have support?
I would support it, but with the clarification that we're adopting the corrected version as compared to the original version.
Yes. All right, it's been motioned and supported. It's a resolution. So it's been resolved and supported to adopt the zoning ordinance amendment, Article 21, supplemental district regulations, Section 21.08, stables and animals. Any further discussion? Madam Clerk, may I have a roll call vote, please?
David Walker,
Yes.
Kurt Schultz.
Yes.
Herman Ferguson,
Yes.
Zach Tucker,
Yes.
Mike Cunningham,
Yes.
and I say yes.
Moving on to item number 3 is a request to write off uncollectible fire service runs accounts. We've got a couple here that are uncollectible for various reasons. So rather than leave them on our books, we'd like to write them off. It's for the total amount of $801.24.
So moved.
Support.
Been motioned and supported to write off the uncollectible fire service runs. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, that motion carries. We need to add item number 4 is a request, there's a quote for a laptop, computer and software. Back in our planning and zoning, we needed to put a computer at the desk, so residents can basically see what's going on. We got a big monitor and a turntable that we're gonna turn around so they can actually see all their GIS stuff. That's a big customer service thing, so. The cost for it's $1,022.
Plus the office. Right.
Yep,
I don't know if we need that last time.
yep, and it does need the office, and that's an additional $249.
So that was the software, Marcy, that office?
Yeah, the $249,
So we're just getting the laptop itself?
yep, and the software.
In the software.
Oh,
We've got the monitor and the turntable for it and everything.
And I think the 249 means the 9960 charge isn't necessary, right?
I don't think we need that, do we?
No,
It seemed like it says it's optional, and
I don't think we need it.
I don't think we got it on the other ones.
So, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion, Mike, to do it.
Support.
Been motioned and supported to purchase the laptop and software. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. We move to item number 5 to the end, and we have no miscellaneous business, so we will do public remarks. This is a time for residents to voice their comments, opinions, and concerns on township-related issues, and each person is allowed up to 3 minutes to speak. Please understand, this is not a question and answer session, and the board may not answer questions. Anybody like to speak? Yes, Tom. You can speak there, or you can come on up, whatever's needed for you.
I don't know if Linda has talked to any of you guys about getting a key for the old township hall for Friday. We have a member of the Historical Society who is a retired contractor. He has already looked at the outside of the building, and he has concerns with the west side of the roof. He says that the cedar shake shingles are, because of the building on the west side is all in the shade, it's never gets any sun. He says that the shingles are curling, and he's concerned that it might be starting to leak. And he wants to get in the building, and if you recall, that building, it has an attic where they used to store the old records. He wants to get up there with a flashlight, and he wants to do it while it's raining. So this would be a good week to do it. He wants to see if it's leaking or if it's not. So my question is, can we get a key for Friday? And how do we come in Thursday and get it, or how do you want to do it?
I have a key, yep,
Thursday?
tomorrow or Thursday, yep, either one.
See you?
Mhm.
Okay. And then how do we get it back?
You can put it in a Dropbox.
Okay, all right. That's good. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Anyone else? Public comment? Of course.
Scott Dietrich, Boiler. I'm concerned about, I think it's good to hire people and get more people to work. But we keep adding people, we got hours of operation here, we can put people to work while they're here. I'm a union UAW member, and I never got paid for lunch. I looked at the hours. If you're not paying the people for lunch, or you are, I don't know if you're not, you're only working 30 hours a week now, on 4 days. We got Friday open, and we're hiring more people. It'd be more cost efficient to put Friday on, instead of hiring more. You gotta be looking for an assistant for the planning commission. I'm thinking, we got bodies here already, we got more than we had before. And it would be smarter, and probably, I don't know about insurances, but if somebody's getting insurance on 30 hours, that's part-time help. I mean, we got a whole other day of Friday. We can work these people another day, give them a full-time employment, 40 hours. And, you know, I like it this way, 8-hour day, it's 5:30 if you're not paying them for lunch. I looked at the state of Michigan laws, and you don't have to pay, because I was a UAW member, I didn't get paid for my lunch. I went an extra half an hour for my lunch break. I was entitled to breaks, but I had to work for my lunch break. So I was thinking, we have another day Friday, and there's no reason hiring more people. We can give these people more hours. Just monetarily speaking, the cost to the township to put another employee on. Each employee, I know there's extra costs to put an employee at work. And they're already here, so it's another 8-hour day. So if you got that much work, you gotta keep putting people on. If you don't need them, we just put people to work on Friday. We got a day. I think it has to be a savings of the township. I know, dealing with other businesses, and I've been down the line through my life, that it costs more money to put someone to work than it is to add more work to, or to even pay overtime. And this wouldn't be overtime, it would just be 8 hours of straight time. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Jeanette Maketa, Fuller Drive. This is a letter that I sent out to my subscribers tonight for TyroneTownshipWatch.org, and told them about the meeting tonight and that it would be Zoomed and that I would be live streaming also, so they have several options. Hoping that they would come here, would be better to see them in person. At the last board meeting on September 7th, I asked this of Supervisor Cunningham, that he publicly condemn the use of any board member's position of power to attack private residents. I asked him also that a public apology be issued by Clerk Husted, and that she acknowledge what she did was wrong and what she said was not true. And that the third thing was to make it clear that Tyrone Township elected officials are never allowed to attack the public again. Why is this issue so important to address? If Supervisor Cunningham does not condemn this practice now, and also rectify this with those residents who were attacked, then it might happen again at any time. What if next time it's you, or wherever the camera is, or someone you know, what do? Tyrone Township officials are elected to represent the people. They are not elected to use intimidation tactics to single out people with whom they don't agree. The subject of my name was never on the agenda of the September 7th meeting, but Clerk Houston built her prepared speech around it anyway. The supervisor allowed her to speak. If you'll remember, he hung his head as she started to speak and never made eye contact with her. Now this is important because a previous meeting, he told, I believe it was Herm, it could have been someone else, that he admonished them for speaking and said, you will not speak out of turn, you will not bring up something that isn't on the agenda. But Marcy was allowed to do so. So our elected officials must be held accountable because they work for us, not the other way around. I will, and I said in my letter that I would be repeating this request to you tonight. Tomorrow, I will email a follow-up letter to all of you board members. You don't have to answer, and I would never have asked you this before. But because of this situation, I'm going to ask you to condemn the practice of elected officials using their position of power to attack residents. And I'll also ask those board members to stand up for what is right. I will email you, the subscribers to my website, and I will publish it also on my website. You should also know this, after the board meeting last September 7th, the clerk approached me. Several people witnessed this. She asked to meet with me, and I asked her to state the purpose of the meeting. I asked her if it was to acknowledge that what she said was wrong and what she did was wrong. She said she would never apologize because she had proof for all the accusations. And she would be emailing me tomorrow. I emailed her the next afternoon and I said, Marcy, and I can show you the proof of that. I just said, hey, you said you would email me with the proof. And again, there she is smirking about it. Always a smirk on her face whenever I address this. And she just nodded yes, gonna do that. So I'm asking you to condemn this practice. I think you need to. I think it's the right thing to do. And if not, you're going to find other board members down the road possibly doing the same thing. And it's not right. I believe it may even be illegal. I don't care if I go down that road. I just want to be acknowledged that it was wrong and an apology. And if she has this truth that she threatens to email me with, then send it. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Anyone else? Is anybody on Zoom raising their hand over there? I can't see that from over. Is that, can you look at that real close? Is there anybody on Zoom that have a comment?
Doesn't look like it's me.
I'm not seeing it.
I'm not seeing anybody with their hands over there. Let me arrow over there just to make sure.
There's
I don't see anybody.
Okay. I've asked a few people to look at this just to make sure, and hopefully everybody's voice was heard. I'm not seeing anybody, so thank you all for attending. At this time, we're going to adjourn our meeting and go into closed session. No other business will be conducted, but if you want to stick around, you can feel free to stick around. Same thing with the people on Zoom. I won't shut it down until after adjournment. So I will entertain the resolution to adjourn our meeting and go into closed session.
So resolved.
Support.
It's been resolved and supported to adjourn our meeting and go into closed session. Madam Clerk, may I have a roll call vote, please?
Dave Walker.
Yes.
Kurt Schultz.
Yes.
Herman Ferguson.
Yes.
Zach Tucker.
Yes.
Mike Cunningham.
Yes.
And I say yes.
And I need to clarify that resolution is to discuss a confidential attorney-client privilege communication.
Yes.
That's an assistant.
I'd like to have a heavier gauge, but.
I might have one. I ordered mine for these thick ones. And it's got my company name. It's like, you have to get it. It's like, I just work for Bosch.